I came to claim my inheritance. The millionaire laughs, until the council confirmed the truth. I came to claim my inheritance. The words felt too big for Daniel's worn jacket and dusty shoes, but he said them anyway, standing tall in the marble lobby of the grand estate. The receptionist looked him up and down, unsure whether to call security or offer a chair. Upstairs, in a sunlit office lined with gold-framed photos, the millionaire Victor Hale burst into laughter when he heard. My inheritance, Victor repeated, wiping a tear of amusement from his eye. Son, people usually try more believable stories. Daniel didn't flinch. His hands trembled, but his voice stayed steady. I'm not here to fight. I was told to come today. That's all. Victor leaned back in his leather chair. And who told you that? A fortune teller. Daniel reached into his pocket and pulled out a carefully folded letter, its edges soft from being opened many times. Your father, he said quietly. The laughter stopped. Victor's smile faded just slightly. His father had passed away 3 months ago. A powerful businessman, yes, but also a private man with habits no one fully understood. My father didn't know you, Victor said sharply. Daniel slid the letter across the desk. He knew my grandmother. Victor almost dismissed it, but curiosity tugged at him. He unfolded the paper and immediately recognized his father's handwriting. If this letter is in your hands, it read, the boy carrying it matters. Listen before you judge. Father. Victor frowned. Even if this is real, it proves nothing. People fake these things. Daniel nodded. That's why your father told me to come on the day the city council meets to read his community will. Victor blinked. Community will. You'll see, Daniel said softly. Against his better judgment, and partly to expose what he assumed was a scam, Victor agreed to go. The city council hall was modest, filled with local leaders and a few curious residents. Victor rarely attended such meetings, but today his presence caused a stir. Daniel sat quietly in the back, hands folded. When the agenda reached the final item, the council head cleared her throat. Today we honor the final civic wishes of the late Mr. Hale. Victor straightened. She opened a document. 10 years ago, Mr. Hale established a private community fund. It supported food programs, school supplies, and medical aid for low-income families. He requested anonymity. Victor's eyes widened. He had never heard of this. The council head continued. One clause specifies a beneficiary, someone outside the Hale family. A young man named Daniel Reyes. Murmurs filled the room. Victor turned slowly to look at Daniel. The council head read on. Mr. Hale wrote. To Daniel, grandson of Maria Reyes, the woman who once fed me when I had nothing, I leave a portion of my personal shares. Not as charity, but as a debt of gratitude. She gave me dignity when I was a struggling immigrant with empty pockets. Her kindness built the man I became. Daniel's eyes glistened, but he stayed quiet. Victor felt like the floor had shifted. His father, struggling, hungry, he had grown up with stories of success, not hardship. The council head smiled gently at Daniel. Your grandmother never accepted money from him. So he waited, and invested in the future instead. In you. She handed Daniel an official envelope. The room applauded softly. Victor didn't. He couldn't. His chest was tight with something unfamiliar. Humility. Outside, Victor finally approached Daniel. Why didn't you tell me all this? Daniel shrugged. My grandmother said kindness isn't a loan you collect. It's a seed you plant. I only came because your father insisted in the letter. Honestly, I almost didn't. You could have sued, demanded, made a scene, Victor said. Daniel smiled faintly. That's not how she raised me. Victor studied the young man's face. No greed, no pride, just quiet sincerity. What will you do with it? Victor asked. Daniel looked at the envelope. Pay for nursing school, and maybe expand the food pantry my grandmother started. Victor swallowed. His father's legacy suddenly felt much larger than buildings and bank accounts. Daniel, he said slowly, I laughed at you. Daniel shook his head. You didn't know. That's not an excuse. Victor hesitated, then added, would you consider partnering with my foundation? We could help a lot more people together. Daniel's surprise turned into a warm smile. If it helps people, yes. That evening, Victor sat alone in his father's old study. For the first time, he noticed a small, framed photo tucked between trophies. A younger version of his father stood beside an elderly woman, both smiling over a simple meal. On the back, in faded ink, were the words, "Kindness is the only investment that never fails." Victor finally understood. His father's greatest inheritance wasn't wealth. It was the reminder that success means little if you forget the hands that once lifted you. And somewhere in the city that night, a food pantry served extra meals, a young man filled out nursing school forms, and a millionaire began learning how to be rich in the ways that truly matter. Because sometimes, the most powerful fortunes aren't measured in dollars, but in the lives changed by a single act of kindness.